Hi, and welcome to Math 113 IN1 for the spring 2022 semester at SWIC. My name is Jennifer Simonton, and I am your instructor for this course. This introductory video is just meant to go over the important information regarding the syllabus, how to access assignments, Blackboard, MyMathLab, etc., and hopefully answer any questions that you may have prior to starting. All right, so I'm going to switch my view over here to Blackboard just to show you how to get to the important information that you're going to need to get to. This is my view. Your view looks similar to this when you log in. So the first thing when you log into Blackboard you're going to do over here is you're going to click on the Syllabus tab and then click on this file to download the syllabus. And from here you can print it or download it to your computer, right, or just view it on your screen, whichever is easiest for you. Okay. All right, so the first part here just kind of goes over general information about the course. My phone number on campus. My office is located in the Belleville campus main complex, room 2047. This is an online course. The most important thing here is probably my email address. That's the best way to get in contact with me if you need to speak with me or have a question or would like to set up a Teams meeting or something like that. Send me an email, please. And then my office hours that are scheduled on my schedule, so you don't have to make an appointment for these. In person, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 9 a.m. I have a virtual office hour on Wednesday at 11, meaning that I will be available via Teams. If you would like to meet with me via Teams at that time, send me a quick email and then I can set up a link to get that meeting started. Those are just the times on my schedule. Okay, I am available a lot of other times outside of those hours. I know that those are not convenient for a lot of people. So if you need to, come in person at a different time, or you would like to meet via Teams during a different time, just send me an email and we can figure out what works best for both of us. Okay, so I'm available outside of those hours if necessary. Communication, the best way to reach me quickly is via email, okay? You're more than welcome to stop by and see me in person, but if it's not at 9 o'clock on one of these 4 days, you need to let me know ahead of time to make sure that I'll be there. If you send me an email regarding a question, I will normally respond within 24 hours, although usually it's much faster than that. As soon as I see it, if I have time, I'm going to get back to you pretty quickly. I check my email frequently throughout the day, evenings, weekends, etc. So really doesn't matter what time it is. Okay, I'll eventually see it and get back to you as soon as possible. You should also be checking your SWIC email several times a week. Okay, I will be sending out weekly reminders through Blackboard that will also be sent to your email about what you need to be doing for that week. And if I have to communicate with you individually, that's how you're going to be contacted. So please make sure that you are checking that frequently. Also, just an important thing to mention here is the SWIC math department requires that online classes take tests in a proctored environment. So proctored testing is a requirement for this course. So you will need to plan to come to campus to take the test and the final exam. We'll talk more about that when those are scheduled later on in this syllabus. All right, so the next part here is pretty self-explanatory. The course description, prereqs, objectives, you can read those things on your own if you're interested. They're just a detailed list of things we're going to cover. The course materials and textbook. Okay, so you're required to sign up for MyMathLab. However, you do not need to purchase anything in order to do that. All right, that will include all of your course materials, all of your assignments. The textbook is provided within MyMathLab. And there's an access code provided within Blackboard, which we'll go over in a second. So there's not, in the document that we're going over, there's not like a code given. You'll have to get into Blackboard to figure out how to get set up in MyMathLab. They have streamlined all of that this semester. So you log into Blackboard, there's a link to get to all your MyMathLab assignments where you don't have to go through 2 different logins and things like that. All right, so we'll get to page 7 and 8 soon. All right, textbook is, if you would like a hard copy of the textbook, then this is what it is, okay? You do not need to purchase that. That's not a requirement, okay? The textbook is contained within MyMathLab. But some people I know just like to have a hard copy of the book as opposed to the electronic version. So if you are one of those people, this is the book that we are utilizing. Also, you'll need to have a TI-84 graphing calculator is recommended. I don't do a ton of stuff in this course using the calculator, but it will make things quicker and simpler if you do have a graphing calculator. All right. Grading procedure. Okay, all coursework is going to be done through MyMathLab. Okay, tests, final exam, those things you will have to be taking through the testing center, okay, being proctored. All other assignments, meaning the homework and the reviews for the test, are completed on your own online. All right, so we are in an online course, however, it's not self-paced. Okay, there are due dates for things that you have to meet those deadlines. All right, so you may work on homework outside of past the due date, but you'll have a penalty if you don't get them done by the due date. And then tests have a hard, firm due date that you have to complete tests by without exception. All right, we'll go over the assignments and the due dates a little bit later. Okay, your grade is broken down in this format. Okay, homework for the whole semester is worth a total of 50 points. That's equivalent to 10% of your overall grade. The test reviews, that altogether, they are 5% of your grade. So there are 3 of them that for the regular test, and each of those are worth 5 points apiece, and then the one for the final exam is worth 10 points apiece. So as a whole, all of those together total 25 points. There are 3 100-point tests for 300 total points. That's equivalent to 60% of your overall grade, and then your final exam is 25% of your grade, or 125 total points. Your grade's assigned by the basic 10-point grading scale. All grades can be found immediately within MyMathLab as you complete things, and they're also going to be automatically transferred over to Blackboard, although I don't know that that happens right that second. So like if you complete a homework assignment and then jump over to Blackboard, you might not see that assignment shown in Blackboard until it has time to update. But eventually, within a day or so, or maybe it's only a few hours, I don't remember what the settings are set to be, but eventually all of your MyMathLab assignments will also be found in the Blackboard gradebook. Okay, so you can find them both places. And everything's already set up within the gradebook to reflect your current grade at any given time. All right, so you'll have to be able to navigate both Blackboard and MyMathLab to successfully complete the course. However, you're going to access MyMathLab through Blackboard. All right, before you begin homework, you're encouraged to open, view, and take notes on the lecture videos posted under the course content tab and then in the lecture videos folder. This step is important. Do not skip this step, okay? This is like going to class. You're going to see a video of me explaining examples and going over the content of material that you're going to need to do the homework problems. All right, in an online class, you have to find time to fit that step into your schedule. I tried to make the videos a reasonable amount of time. They're not like an hour long or anything. I think most of them are anywhere between 15 and 35 minutes to explain a section, some longer than others depending on what the content is, but that is important. Also, the hard copy of the lecture notes that I am explaining in the videos can be found in the lecture notes folder under the same tab. So let me just show you real quick where that's at. So over here, you'll click under course content, and then you have 2 folders. So under lecture videos, they're organized by test. So for test number 1, all those videos are in this folder. And then if you click on this, it'll take you out to YouTube to the video of me explaining the examples from section R2. Okay, and then section R4, R6, etc. So all of these videos are the content for test number 1. In the other folder are the lecture notes. So again, organized within that folder by test. So for test number 1, if you're watching the video for R2, and if you click on this document, it's the PDF copy of what problems you see on the video. Okay, so I put those in there for your reference. Some people maybe would like to have them printed out ahead of time and just follow along and make their own notes in addition, right, to all of these are PowerPoints. Okay, they're just a PDF copy of the PowerPoint. All right, so you can, put in your own notes in the margin of what's already there. Or you might just want to write everything out yourself, where you might not even need these, but you're watching the video and just taking notes on your own. So either way you want to manage that is up to you, but all that is contained in the course content folder. All right, so let's go back here to the syllabus. I should have saved that. All right, so we are here. All right, homework. Homework is assigned in MyMathLab for every section of the textbook that you cover. Okay, it's set up as a learning tool. You'll get unlimited attempts on each question. Pay attention to due dates, and then the whole homework set of assignments is worth a total of 50 points. We'll look at that here in a little bit. If you've taken other courses at SWIC leading up to this, you're probably familiar with how MyMathLab works, but if not, it's pretty self-explanatory and pretty easy to navigate. All right, test reviews, there are 3 of them. They're in MyMathLab again. Each one corresponds to one of your 3 regular tests. They are set up as a homework, meaning that you can, you're not going to have a time limit, and you're going to be able to, view some resources and things as you go. Okay, however, the view an example is not available on a test review, all right, because the goal here is to hopefully you've learned how to do things, and if you need to access a review of how to do it, then you can go back to your lecture notes and find a problem that is similar. And there's a limit on how many attempts you have per question. Okay, after you've tried it 4 times, it won't let you try it again. Again, it's sort of a cross between, I guess, a quiz and a test to have those restrictions on there, but in general, it's very similar to homework. You're allowed to use your notes and all that stuff, right? Because you're just doing these at home. All right, those are worth 5 points, and they have a due date. You cannot go back after the due date and work on a test review. It's due the day of each test. All right, also, these should be used as study guides. I write the test from the test review. Okay, so if you can, the test reviews are always longer than the actual test will be. However, if you can do the problems that are in the review without using notes and other resources, okay, you will be prepared for your test. All right, there are 3 tests. Each covers about 2 to 3 chapters of material, and each is worth 100 points. You take those over through MyMathLab at a SWIC testing center, either the Belleville campus or the Granite City campus. You have to make an appointment ahead of time, and you will have to have a photo ID. Information about the testing center is listed over here. If you click on this tab, it'll take you to some links that take you to the website and shows you how to make an appointment or what their hours are and things. When you get there, you'll log into MyMathLab, you click on your assignments and the test you want to take. The proctor will come in and enter the password and for whatever test you're on, and then you'll have 75 minutes to complete the test. When you're finished, you click submit and you'll see your score. All right, you are allowed to use a calculator, scientific or graphing, without a CAS. Okay, you cannot use a TI-89, you cannot use an Inspire that has a CAS built in. Okay, but you can use a non-CAS Inspire or a TI-84 that's recommended, or any scientific calculator. All right, you cannot use an app on your cell phone as a calculator in our testing center. All right, it has to be an actual calculator. All right, test review, or the final exam review, just like a regular test, just longer, okay? Or just like a regular test review, just covers everything, so it's worth a little bit more. And the final exam is comprehensive. You'll have 2 hours to complete that in the testing center, and it should be completed no later than Wednesday, May 18th. That's the deadline. You can do it before that, but that's the deadline that it has to be done by. Again, this final exam review should be used as a study guide for the final. Every question on the final, there's a similar problem somewhere in this exam review assignment. All right, so if you've used MyMathLab before, you're familiar with this, but when you enter an answer in MyMathLab, it's very picky about notation. All right, so I do go back and review every question on every person's test and their final exam and assign partial credit. All right, sometimes you get partial credit without needing me to look at your work, okay? And that would happen, for example, like say on a problem the answer is 5, and you typed in the box x equals 5, and it marked it wrong because it was looking for just the number 5 and it didn't recognize when you put x equals in there. Then when I see that, I just give you the points for that because obviously you got the answer right. All right, other times your answer is wrong, and that's why it marked it wrong. So if the answer was 5 and you typed a 2, right, they're going to not give you points for that because it's incorrect. However, if you submitted your scratch paper to the testing center when you left, and it's done in somewhat of an organized fashion, meaning that your numbers, your problems are labeled, they don't have to necessarily be in order, but as long as I can find the problem that I'm looking at quickly, and I can follow your process and see the steps you took, I can assign you partial credit, right? Maybe you got the wrong answer, but you made a very small little mistake, but otherwise you knew the process of how to do the problem. I can give, if it's a 5-point problem, I can give you 4 out of 5 versus 0. Okay, so turning in your scratch paper and writing it down, any work you do where that problem is easy to find and organized will greatly help your score. So don't panic when you submit your test and you feel like you did pretty well and it says you got a 60%. All right, it could just be several little mistakes, and after I have a chance to review everything and give partial credit, that grade is likely to improve significantly. Okay, so it'll take a couple days, okay, for that to happen, but I do that for every single test and the final, for every person. Okay, all right. Makeup and late work, as you're expected to complete things by their due dates. For homework, this does not include the test reviews. You are allowed to work on assignments after the due date, but you receive a 15% grade deduction. The deadline for submitting all of the semester's homework, in other words, you can't go back and get your late partial credit or your submit or do any homework problems or homework assignments after Sunday, May 15th. That's the deadline. But up until then, you can go back to any homework assignment and work on it and get partial credit. So if you didn't do an entire assignment and you went in and did the whole thing after the due date, if you got all the problems right, you get 85%. You get an 85 out of 100. Okay, because it's going to take off 15%. The deduction only applies to things done after the due date. So if you had completed half the assignment on time, but just didn't get the other half done and went back and did the other half late, that 15% deduction only applies to that second half, the problems that you did late. So you could get like a 92 or whatever, right, based on the penalty for the late problems. All right, if you miss a test, okay, you need to contact me so we can discuss your options, okay? You have to have documentation that it was an excused absence. Vacation or out of town is not being excused, okay? You need to make arrangements ahead of time to take it early if that's going to happen on the week of the test. You are responsible for initiating the makeup process. If the due date's on whatever day and you just didn't do it and I didn't hear from you, you're going to get a 0. All right, at the end of the semester, 1 missed test score can get replaced with your final exam. Any additional missed tests, you just simply get a 0. All right, also, you don't have to miss a test to have a final exam replacement. Okay, if your final exam at the end of the semester, if that score is higher than your lowest test grade, no matter what that lowest test grade is, whether it's a 0 or a 50% or whatever, the final exam score replaces that lowest test score. Okay. All right, but having said that, the final exam is not optional. Even if you've done well on all your tests, you must take the final exam no matter what. All right, this is the attendance policy for online courses. You must demonstrate ongoing participation in Blackboard and MyMathLab. Means you don't have to send me a communication like an email every week, but I just need to be able to verify that you're doing your assignments and you're logging in to MyMathLab and doing your homework. Okay, as long as you're doing that week to week, then you're not going to get withdrawn. Okay, but if I log into MyMathLab and it shows that you haven't logged in and it's been more than 7 consecutive days since you've logged in, you may get withdrawn because that means you're not participating. If you do not do anything in the course for the first 10 days when I get my 10-day roster, if I haven't heard from you, you haven't logged in MyMathLab, you're not registered, you've done nothing, you're going to get withdrawn. Okay. So just make sure you're keeping up with the schedule. The rest of this, most of this other stuff is pretty you can read this on your own, this information here. The disability and access accommodations, if you have those, I just need your paperwork and we can make those arrangements with no big deal at all. Ethical conduct, that's just the definition, the college's definition of cheating. Okay, basically my rule for that is if you're suspected of cheating the first time you get warned and the second time you get withdrawn from the course with an F. Or I should say warned and a 0 on the assignment is your first offense here, and then after that you're just done. Let's see, COVID. So these are just kind of general guidelines. This semester, there's new guidelines on in terms of how, if you're being allowed to be on campus. So you should have received communication from SWIC about those new rules. So since you have to come to campus for testing, you'll have to, abide by those guidelines. So either have a vaccine card uploaded or undergo weekly testing. Okay, if that is an issue, okay, and you do not plan to abide by those requirements, there's a chance they will not allow you to be on campus at all, even to take your exams, and that will be an issue. So if you're concerned about that, let me know, and I will direct you to the, whatever other options there may be for that. And the rest of this, again, is stuff you can read on your own. So we're going to scroll down here to our MyMathLab information. All right, so when you're first getting signed up in MyMathLab, okay, everything is again done through Blackboard now. You're going to go into Blackboard, click on this course, and then over on the left side tab, you should see this link that says access code. You're going to click on that. Okay. Once you click on that, you're going to locate the materials for your math course. If you're taking other classes that use Pearson Code Reveal, then you may have other courses listed. Okay, but when you click on there, you're going to find Calculus for Business and Social Science, right? That should be listed once you click on the access code, and then there's a green button that says Reveal Access Code. You're going to click on that. All right, and you're going to copy or write down. Even if you're going to try copy and pasting, that's fine, but I would still write that code down in case the paste doesn't work for some reason. All right, so you have that, what those letters are. It'll be a long, a bunch of letters that don't seem like they go together, okay, with dashes and stuff. All right, so once you've written down the access code after you click this reveal button, you're going to go back to the course link page, this time from back to this course in MyMathLab. This time click on the MyMathLab link over here, and you should see a screen that looks something like this. All right, so then clicking on any of those links will start your registration process, okay? So if you've never used Pearson with Blackboard before, you'll have to accept the user license agreement. Just click on I agree. All right. Then you will get to a screen like this that says to enter your username and password if you have an account, or if you don't have a Pearson account, you can create an account. So you'll choose which option applies here. If you've used Pearson with Blackboard, you'll go straight to that step without having to click the agreement, okay? All right, then you'll get to the payment page. You'll click on the access code link, and then you'll type in the access code, either paste it from if you copied it or type it in if you wrote it down on paper. All right, and once you've done that and entered that in, you should have access to all of your materials. And then you can go back to step 5 to get started. Okay, if you need help with that, Pearson has some help links here listed if you need to contact them. You can also use our Success Center. They can walk you through that process. Or if you want to contact me, I can help you sort things out if it seems to not be working correctly. Okay? All right, so once you have done that, you will have access to our textbook. So after that, you only need this access code link once. Once you've done all that, every time you just log into Blackboard and you just click on MyMathLab. And when you do that, you can either go to the course homepage if you want to see the ebook or other resources they have, or you can just click on assignments. And it will bring you right to this page, and then you can click directly on your homework for the first section and question number 1, and then go from there. Okay, So then all of these problems, if you watched my video, I've gone through with some examples that are similar that you can use to help you, know how to answer these questions, or you can click on a help me. Most people like to view an example because it shows them a similar example to what they're doing, and it's right there. Or you can watch a video. This is a textbook video. This is not my video. This is the textbook explaining the problem. You can read what's actually in the textbook. Most students don't like that one, but it's there if you do. Or you can click Ask My Instructor, which will send me an email with a link to this problem, and then I can help you out from there. All right. I would say most people of all of these options would like the view and example the best if you're going to use those. But if you watched my video, you should have notes already on how to do the majority of these homework problems where you may not necessarily need this extra help. Okay? All right. So we are going to go back to here. Okay. All right, so let's go back to my syllabus. All right, so that's how you get into MyMathLab. So just log into Blackboard, click the MyMathLab on the side each time you want to work on something, and that's it. You don't have to log in twice. You just log into Blackboard and that's it. Okay, so then we are down here just to go over really quickly this assignment calendar. This is probably the most important page, in my opinion, of this whole handout. It gives you each week exactly what homework assignments are due and then the due date. Okay, everything is due on a Friday except for the final exam. Our finals in the spring end on a Wednesday, so that's why it's due on Wednesday. All right, so we have week number 1 starts on a Saturday. All the weeks start on Saturday and end on a Friday. Okay, so this course moves pretty quickly. There's at least usually 3 to 4 things to do each week in terms of assignments. And it's much harder in general, at least after you get past the preliminary stuff, than college algebra. Okay, so you're going to need to make sure you set aside enough time to spend working on the videos, the notes, and the homework. All right, so the first week, these 4 assignments, the review chapters or sections 2, 4, 6, and then the first chapter, section 1, 1, is due by Friday the 21st. And the next week, there's 3, then 3, then 3. Okay, then we end up with our first test here. So this week, this assignment, I would suggest, if you're managing your time well here, all this is not due till Friday. However, right, there's a test involved that includes this section. All right, so maybe like on this Saturday over the weekend, you do section 2, 3 and get that done. Then maybe Monday, Tuesday, you spend on the review assignment and the study guide, and then schedule your test for Thursday or Friday. Okay, don't wait until Friday to do all of it because you're not going to have enough time. All right. All right, then another few weeks, there's assignments. Then after spring break, we have our second test. Similar situation here. However, notice how this is listed. This 4-1 is due that week, but it's not on the test. So I would suggest maybe over the weekend doing the review, maybe taking the test by like Wednesday or Thursday, and then working on the homework, after that, because it's not part of what's on this second test, but it is still part of that week's assignments. This last test, the only thing you have to do that week is do the review and take the test. That one's probably the hardest of the 3. This stuff is more difficult at the end, so it just gives you a little bit more time to review it. And then the last week, 2 sections to wrap up, work on the review, and then by the next Wednesday, have your final exam done. Okay? All right, so if you have any questions about any of that at all, don't hesitate to contact me at any time. If you haven't logged into Blackboard yet, if you're viewing this from the email that was sent, please log into Blackboard and follow those directions and get started as soon as you can. Okay, and I'm looking forward to a great semester, and I hope you are too. All right, so that is it. Goodbye.